that, we'll start taking questions. Please raise your hand. TR.
Chris, good afternoon.
Hey, TR.
How would you assess Edison Volquez's status on this team? Is he on the team? Is he a candidate for the team? How do you view that?
Yeah, it's definitely a candidate for the team. I wouldn't put him on just yet. I've been impressed. We've all been impressed. There's obviously still a lot of life in the fastball. His, you can see his changeup obviously still plays. He looks good. Physically he feels good. Mentally he's in a good place. So obviously he brings a lot of value to our ball club. From a leadership standpoint, he's been pretty much done everything in the game that you can imagine. So, we definitely, would love to have him as far as that goes. But, obviously he still has to have the stuff. And so we're still seeing that. I saw it yesterday. It looked really good.
What else do you need to see from him in the next 10 days or so?
More like we saw yesterday, just the consistency and the strike throwing and like the stuff playing up like it did yesterday. If we see that, he should have a pretty good opportunity to be on our roster. Like I said, I can't guarantee anything, but very encouraging what we saw yesterday.
Next question, please. Levi.
Hey, Chris. Do we have any status update on Robinson Chirinos or Willie Gallo?
Yeah, Robbie, actually Willie, had an MRI. We're just kind of waiting to see, the results of that so we can kind of get a clear picture of what we're dealing with. He was sore this morning. That's all I can say. Robbie actually woke up feeling better than he anticipated. So I don't know if we dodged a bullet on that one. Hopefully we did. Hopefully it's just either a bruise or a slight, sprain of the ankle. But we won't know until he kind of comes in and they evaluate him further.
Other questions, please. Nobody else? Jeff?
How do you feel about the way Jose Trevino has come along? All the way back, I guess, to the off season and then spring training and now.
Yeah, that's the silver lining to all this is with Robbie going down, obviously he's a huge piece of our team. Like I said, offensively and on the the catching side, and just from a leadership aspect. But Jose, the strides I've seen with him, from a catching standpoint, we always knew he had those qualities. He's obviously a really good receiver, a really good leader. Gets pitchers to buy into what he's calling. So from a catching standpoint, he's always been pretty elite in our mind. What I've seen the biggest difference is the bat. The swing changes he's made, his commitment to his work, and being able to handle all of that, is tough for a catcher, especially a young catcher trying to prove himself. And I'm actually very, very optimistic of his performance, as it comes in this year. I've been dying to kind of just get him in there. So, I didn't want our starting catcher to go down, but I feel pretty comfortable that Jose can kind of fill in and do a good job for us.
You said that with the 30-man roster, you want 3 catchers. But you also said you got to play all 3. So, you thought any more about that balance, assuming Robinson is ready to go?
Yeah, it's tough because obviously Robbie's the kind of guy that you can put out there, more than maybe most, and you want his bat in the lineup. So to try to, kind of balance that and, with Jeff and Jose, trying to balance their playing time, knowing that it's really tough to be productive in this league when you're not, getting consistent playing time. It's going to be tough for obviously me to try to balance all that, but luckily we got, obviously 2 guys in Jeff and Jose that are, pretty selfless individuals that, will be ready when called upon. But, that's the challenge that I have to try to get them all in the lineup consistently, which is impossible.
Other questions, Chris?
Really quick on Trevino. Notice the difference in his stance. Is that something you guys work with him on, or did he kind of come up with that on his own?
Yeah, he's been working really hard, obviously, throughout, the off season. At the end of last year, he kind of began working with Louie and Krabby and really trying to redefine his swing and try to get, more offensively. And honestly, it's been an amazing transformation in my mind. I didn't really see him before. I just saw him in spring training last year, and to see what I see now and just the consistency in the bat path, the swing, there's a lot more than I think people think there offensively. I kind of, envision him to be a pretty good offensive catcher, like an above average. And I know he feels that way. He's a confident kid, but to be able to actually get him now some reps, maybe with Robinson out, I don't know how long he's going to be out, but I really trust Jose, especially with the work that he's put in.
Other questions, please. Another one from TR.
I'm just curious, you changed to live BP today. Is that because of what happened to Robinson, or is there some?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a mix of everything. Just kind of the landscape of things. We gave him off the other day. I felt like that was needed because guys were grinding pretty hard. It's always a fine line between, especially in this scenario, we want to get off to a good start, so we don't want to, move too slow in this situation, but we also don't want to move too fast and risk injury. So, just kind of looking at the landscape, we can still get a ton of work done in a live BP setting. I think it's just important because not every player, is on the same program because they didn't have, for the 3 months that they were off, certain guys had better, facilities to work with and that. So I just felt like it was important just to let guys kind of take a step back. We're still going to go out and compete. Mikey's pitching today. He's going to get after it. If guys want to play defense, they can. They're going to run the bases. They can do whatever they want. But I think it's important that we kind of, I'm not pumping the brakes, but just being mindful of some, body fatigue and trying to push through that period without getting anybody hurt.
So just kind of for planning purposes, Kluber's going to pitch tomorrow, Gibson, Lyles, and these guys just going to follow each other
Yeah.
the rest of the way?
Yeah, and I think starting on Thursday, tomorrow we're going to have a regular game, and then starting Thursday we have kind of a 3-game series. We're going to choose teams, and we've been planning that for a while, and I envisioned it to be a little bit longer series, but I think it's the 3 games will be perfect. We'll get pretty much all of our pitchers in those games and get a little competition between each other, but that'll be starting on Thursday.
So these will be 2 defined teams
Yeah.
competing for at least bragging rights or something
Yeah,
like
there'll
that?
be something on the line. We'll come up with something pretty creative.
Who are going to be the managers? Or
Well, it was Robbie, Chirinos, and Mathis were going to choose the teams. Obviously, with Robbie, we'll see how he feels about choosing the team today with his ankle the way it is. But those 2 guys are, probably going to be the 2 captains.
Okay. Thank you, John.
Evan Grant, you have a question?
Woody, since I wasn't actually there last night, was there actually contact on the play between Heineman and Chirinos?
Yeah, he kind of, he's obviously Heineman slid into home plate, and Robbie kept his foot kind of on home plate, and he just kind of clipped it a little bit, but it just pushed his ankle outward a little bit. It just sucks because it's a play that Heineman's obviously he's not trying to take out our catcher or anything like that. He just slid into home plate, and Robbie kept his foot there probably a little longer than I would have liked. Just pull your foot. We don't need to keep our feet. We're not worried about replay or touching home plate or anything like that. So it's just an unfortunate guy playing hard, and bad thing happened.
So is there anything that this is a kind of a unique, well, it is a unique situation. NFL camps, they always have non-contact drills and spend a lot of time on that. Is there anything you got to because you've got guys trying to make your team right now?
Yeah.
Is there anything you've got to kind of reinforce?
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, obviously Heineman felt terrible that the way it turned out, and so he talked to Robbie about it, and Robbie didn't. He knew that there was no ill intent. He wasn't trying to take him out or break up a double play or anything like that. It was just unfortunate how it happened. I saw the replay of it. It was innocent. It wasn't. Heineman was just trying to slide into home plate. Maybe his foot got kicked up a little bit because of the batter's box. Kicked it right into Robbie's foot. So it's just unfortunate. Guys are playing hard. And we can't. I can't fault them for that. I don't want guys to play soft or. We got to get ready for a season. And unfortunately, Robbie was just, like I said, his foot was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Raise your hand, please. Go ahead, TR.
Chris, we haven't talked to you in 7 hours, but I'm just curious if you had any update on Robinson, Chirinos, and Willie Calhoun?
The Chirinos actually probably better than we anticipated. We're still not quite sure exactly how long he's going to be out, but it was encouraging to see him kind of walking around. Not a lot of swelling, so that was kind of obviously very encouraging sign. So I guess we'll see. We'll take it day by day, but there's a slight chance, he may be ready for the start of the season, or maybe down for the beginning of the year. But it's encouraging. It could have been a lot worse. And Willie, I don't know if we haven't got the results yet of the MRI. He's still tender today. If you talk to him, he thinks he's not going to be out that long, but we believe there's a strain in there. So once we get the MRI results, then we'll let you know.
Other questions? Anybody have anything? Jeff?
What do you think of mine?
It was really good. It's cool to see him after his last couple outings, kind of what he's working on. I know he's trying to pitch at the top of the zone. The way he commands, his off-speed pitches, with the changeup. Obviously, the changeup's elite, but he backdoored a few sliders. I think he had, 9 strikeouts looking today on various pitches. So you can see he's definitely in a good spot. He lost a little bit of command with his fastball at times, and he got a little frustrated. But overall, he said he felt really good. The rest of his pitches were right where they needed to be.
Other questions? Go ahead, Levi.
Hey, Mike talked to us a little bit about how he would go to the dugout, or the same dugout as the batters that he'd been facing, and kind of give each other feedback. And that seemed like a fairly clever idea. Where did that start? Whose idea was that?
Well, we got both dugouts covered, so no matter what dugout you go into, you're gonna. The thing is, like we've been having our main guys, face our main starters. So, on purpose, obviously, we wanted our pitchers to face our best hitters to give them, so they're in the same dugout, obviously, pretty much every game. So it is good to get feedback. Our guys have been pretty good. They're competing out there. I wouldn't say they're taking any pitches off or taking any bats off. But they are giving each other feedback on what they see and, how the pitches are moving. Batters that do well against a guy telling them, what that pitch looked like coming out of his hand. So it is good to get that feedback because you typically don't get that, obviously, against an opposing team.
Yeah, I know last year Hunter Pence was one of the guys that we saw doing that, where he'd pull aside a pitcher after a live BP in spring training. And I think you talked a little bit about how that was unusual at the time. I mean, is this just sort of like something that you want to continue to foster, or is it something that sort of just has developed organically?
I've seen it throughout my career. Anytime you're facing your own pitcher, you tend to, some of the guys get kind of locked in from a pitching standpoint. They don't like talk to anybody, or but our guys are pretty open. They want that feedback, and our hitters are willing to give it to them. They don't like it when you punch them out, but afterwards, they're like, "Hey, that was a good pitch. It was a good spot. Whatever. I didn't see that. I picked it up late." So having that dialogue, like I said, is huge sometimes for just the buy-in from the pitcher to throw those pitches in certain spots or in certain counts.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Thanks.
Anything else tonight? Chris?
Yeah, just one thing. A couple days, getting Gallo back. He's still getting his timing back, but what are you seeing from him? He had a couple balls he hit really hard tonight, so just overall feeling good about where he's at right now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously health-wise is probably number one for me, just making sure he's physically okay. He got a ton of at-bats today. He's been getting them every day now, so, it's nice to see him. Jonathan obviously has got really good stuff, so to hit a double off him was nice, and then he lined out his last at-bat. So, I think that's a good positive sign for him. He's just trying to get back. He's trying to get as many as he can without, risking injury. So as many at-bats as we can get him so he can get his timing, he's going to feel more comfortable to start the season. But I liked what I saw at the end there for sure.